outside line, remember, if he can stay ahead. But where does Vettel go now? Dancing round the outside. Webber just about keeping ahead. Covers the line beautifully. Going through turn one, forces Sebastian Vettel to back off.
He's going to have to go right. He's going to have to stay right to defend against his teammate. He needs to force his teammate left. He's done that. He's got the high ground, as it were. He needs to make sure he can keep it inside, and then Vettel not get a fully alongside him, so he can claim at turn 5. And that's exactly what he's done.
Careful, Sebastian, careful.
Should they be telling Sebastian Vettel to be careful? It looked a pretty fair fight.
Yeah, the multi-21 race was very difficult, just because Seb thought there was a bit of hangover from Brazil the previous year where I might not have helped him on the starts. So I think he was premeditated on, again, another tit for tat on that one. And I was controlling the race early on, and frankly sort of really supporting Sebastian in that early part of the race, because he was always trying to get the undercut to stay away from Lewis, because Lewis was trying to tee off against him around the stops. And we gave Sebastian every stop lap that he needed effectively, and on the last stop I was well out of tyres and ultimately went longer than I needed to, just to keep him away from Lewis. And then when it come to shutting the race down, then he didn't want to borrow that. So I was constantly ringing the team saying, well, has he got the call? Because it doesn't look like he has, because this is not the pace we're doing now. We're just going to do the last 8 or 9 laps to the flag and bring it home.
It's wheel to wheel again for the two Red Bulls, Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber. Vettel on the inside. Has he now stolen the lead from his teammate? Can Webber scrap back? Oh, fantastic stuff. Mark Webber regains the lead, but the battle is not over yet. And there is barely a metre between the two cars as down the hill they plunge, and side by side onwards towards the braking zone at turn 4. Webber on the inside. Has he got the better traction? No. Vettel goes dancing round the outside, and it's a dance that takes him into the lead of this race. Wow, how good was that?
This is silly, Seb, come on.
I mean, one of my only regrets, I should have turned the engine back up and got back into it. I defended as best I could, but I was like, you know, just still my old school, I suppose, my moral compass was that I just wanted to keep looking after the equipment. But Seb had other ideas. I was in my head thinking, this is such a shame, and I was questioning at the time, thinking, what are we doing here?
As the checkered flag comes out and is waved for Sebastian Vettel, who wins the Malaysia Grand Prix. His teammate Mark Webber, who led the race for such a long time, beaten into second place.
I was doing the podium interviews that day, but to get from the commentary box to the podium, you have to go through a long tunnel underneath the track. You lose communications. I had no idea what was going on about multi-21. Adrian Newey is standing there, and Mark is glaring at Sebastian, and he's going, multi-21, Seb.
Multi-21, Seb. Yeah, multi-21.
To quote Murray Walker, you could cut the atmosphere with a cricket stump.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed that race as much as we did. What an incredible fight all the way through the field.
I think if there's something to say, we need to talk internally, but for sure I think we both enjoyed that. Of course, I'm standing in the middle now, so I enjoyed it probably a little bit more, but yeah, I think we have plenty of time to talk about.
Probably a good time for me to walk across and speak to Mark and see how he felt about it.
Obviously the team told me that the race was over, and we turned the engines down, and now we go to the end. So I won a race as well, but in the end the team made a decision, which we always say before the start of the race is probably how it's going to be. We look after the tyres, get the car to the end, and in the end Seb made his own decisions today, and we'll have protection as usual, and that's the way it goes.
Formula One is a team sport, and our biggest interest is the team. And then, of course, you've got the driver's got his own interests, and trying to control drivers is the hardest thing in the world.
So you were told Seb to stay in the position, and then he attacked and passed Mark?
It was Christian who said we'll have to look after the tires and stay in position. But then I don't know how he was immediately behind him, and then there was a race, and at this stage you can't talk to race drivers. I mean,
he had helmet in his corner, big style, so I had a little bit of that as well to deal with.
It's 3 weeks to the next race, so we're fortunate we have 3 weeks. We'll catch some waves in Australia on my board, and I think this will be good medicine for me. But there was a lot of things in my mind in the last 15 laps of the Grand Prix, to be honest, so whether the medicine is enough, we'll see.
You know, after the press conference, I said, well, I've got my phone, I'm going to Australia, let's have a chat. He didn't chat that week, and then we got to China and we had a very bad discussion there about how that, well, he said he'd do the same thing again.
I think I said enough. Bottom line is that I was racing, I was faster, I passed him, I won.
So, well, if that's where you are at, then you know we're not going to be on the same page at all going forward. We get on well now. Sebastian and I get on well now. We went through definitely a lot, but in the end, look, I'm not. There's no sour grapes at Red Bull. I had you know, that's what it is the sort of yin and yang of this whole thing. Of you know, I had a great car. I really enjoyed working with the mechanics. The guy was brilliant, but at times it was challenging at the top. Yeah.